dear beloved audience and my fellow youth. Good evening. As a citizen in a democratic process in Bangladesh, position is most crucial. We are well known. So overall, I may figure out a updated up to last September 6 to the 2025 running month. Expected our election is February 2026. So Bangladesh consists of 350 members, with 300 directly elected from single member constituencies using a fast post system and 50 reserved seat for women. But our population ratio is 100:101. This means female is more than a male. Anyway, below in a consensus overview of the election history for 300 directly elected seats in Bangladesh parliamentary election, focusing as aspects of knowledge, accountability, responsibility, and transparency where applicable. Based on available information, I will also highlight recent results and challenges to transparency and accountability, incorporating relevant historical context. Dear sister and brother, overview of Bangladesh parliamentary election history. Since Bangladesh independence in 1971, 12 general elections have been held to elect the 300 members of the Jatiya Sangsad. The election have been marked by issues of transparency, accountability, and political contention, particularly due to the dominance of the Awami League and Bangladesh Nationalist Party (BNP), boycotts and allegations of irregularities. Below is a summary key election with focus on transparency and accountability. There is a summary of all elections. The first election conducted March 7, 1973. Awami League owned 293 seats out of 300. Context: the first election after independence, held under the 1972 constitution, established a multi-party parliamentary system. It was relatively transparent for its time, based on time, but the Awami League dominance raised questions about political pluralism, transparency, and accountability. That's election limited institutional checks and media scrutiny due to the nascent democratic system. The second parliamentary election, held on 1979, result BNP led by Ziaur Rahman on 207 seats out of 300. Context: held under military rule, transitioning to democracy, with accusation of state influence. Transparency and accountability based on this second general elections, lack of reversed oversight. The process was criticized for favoritism toward the ruling regime. That's mean the third parliamentary election, held on 1986, result Jatiya Party Ershad on 153 seats. Context: conducted under military rule, with opposition protest and limited credibility. As per this third election, transparency and accountability analysis: low transparency due to state control and restricted media. The fourth parliament election will be was held on 1988. Result: Jatiya Party owned 251 seats. Context: boycotted by major opposition parties, Awami League and BNP, leading to low voter turnout and legitimacy concern. Based on this election, transparency and accountability analysis, highly criticized for lack of fairness and accountability. The Fifth Parliament, 1991, result: BNP won 140 seats, Awami League 88. Context: marked the restoration of parliamentary democracy after military rule, held under a caretaker government considered relatively free and fair. Based on these elections, transparency and accountability improved due to the caretaker system, which enhanced electoral credibility. The Sixth Parliament, February 1996, result: BNP won uncontested due to Awami League boycott. The Sixth Parliament, dissolved after protest. Context: point to be noted, the Sixth Parliament election was February 1996. Result: BNP won uncontested due to Awami League boycott. Context: dissolved after protest. The second election in June, that's mean after 4 months, 1996, under a caretaker government, saw Awami League win 146 seats. Based on this, the accountability and transparency analysis, the February election lacked legitimacy. The June election was more transparent due to neutral oversight. 8th Parliament election, 2001. Result: BNP lead coalition won 193 seats, Awami League 58. Context: held under a caretaker government considered relatively fair. Analysis on this 8th Parliament, transparency and accountability analysis report: improved transparency due to neutral administration. Point to be noted, improved transparency due to neutral administration, though some violence was reported. 9th Parliamentary election held on 2008. Result: Awami League lead Grand Alliance won 230 seats, BNP only 30. Context: held under a caretaker government after a military-backed interim period. Noted for better organization and international observation. The transparency and accountability analysis showing the high transparency with international and domestic observers, though some irregularities were reported. 10th Parliament election, 2014. Result: Awami League won 234 seats, 127 uncontested. Jatiyo Party 34. Context: boycotted by BNP, leading to 153 uncontested seats. That's means major opponent party boycott and 153 seats uncontested won. Transparency and accountability severely lacking due to boycott and allegation of rigging. The Election Commission's powers were limited by amendments to the Representation of the People Order, that means RPO Act. The 11th Parliament, held on 2018, result: Awami League lead Grand Alliance own 288 seats, BNP 7. Context: marred by allegations of vote rigging, ballot stuffing, and voter intimidation, labeled the midnight elections due to reports of pre-filled ballots. Transparency and accountability analysis showing that widely criticized by opposition and international observers. For human rights was BBC. for lacking fairness. The Election Commission faced accusation of bias. The 12th Parliament election 2024 dated on January 7, 2024 result Awami League on 223 seats, independents mostly affiliated 62, Jatiyo Party 11. Voter turnout, point to be noted, last 1 to 11th parliament election there is no data sheet available voter turnout, but only for last election. Officially turnout was 41.8%, though urban areas like Dhaka reported as low as 20%. Context: boycotted by BNP and allies, who demanded a caretaker government. The elections saw 1,969 candidates, 28 parties, 436 independents for 299 seats because Nagar 2 postponed. That's what I want to say. The Awami League allowed 382 of its members to run as independents. Point to be noted, the Awami League allowed 382 of its members to run as independents, creating intra-party competition. The US and UK criticized the election as not free or fair, citing voter intimidation and violence. The Election Commission introduced postal ballots for the first time. The Election Commission introduced postal ballots for the first time on August 5, 2024, last year, Sheikh Hasina fled amid protest, and the 12th Parliament was dissolved. An interim government under Mohammad Yunus was formed with early elections expected by February 12th February 2026, inshallah. Transparency and accountability analysis based on knowledge. The Election Commission published voter data. 119.7 million voters, 60.8 million male, 58.9 million female, 849 hijra, and maintained 42,148 polling centers. Accountability limited by the 2023 RPO Act amendment, which restricted the Election Commission's ability to cancel elections except on polling day, reducing oversight of irregularities. Dear audience, point to be noted, limited by the 2023 RPO Act amendment, which restricted the Election Commission's ability. Now, present commission is restricted the Election Commission's ability to cancel elections except on polling day, reducing oversight of irregularities. Responsibility. The Awami League's dominance and lack of opposition participation raised concern about democratic responsibilities. The evidence point to be noted, it's not a democratic country run by a political party. The world were 9th in population, our main resource. There are 3 major political party or 4, but as per there are about 50 already registered on Mansur party, but there is no responsibility, accountability, transparency in party political practice, and there is not a single as per guideline of OECD and democratic norms. Limited last year RPO amendment responsibility. The Awami League dominance and lack of opposition participation raised concern about democratic responsibility. The interim government's formation reflects public demand for accountability. Transparency undermined by boycott. In transparency analysis, undermined by boycott, violence, and allegations of manipulations. The United States introduced visa restrictions for those undermining democratic process, and the United Nations denounced pre-elections violence. Challenges to transparency and accountability. This present situation, the challenges to transparency and accountability. A caretaker government system used in 1996, 2021 and 2028, it improved transparency but was abolished in 2013 by the Awami League, leading opposition distrust. Election commissions. Amendments for 2022 Appointment Act, 2023 RPO Act have reduced its autonomy, limiting its ability to address fraud. Amendments 2022 Appointment Act, point to be noted, Election Commission's amendments for 2022 Appointment Act and 2023 RPO Act have reduced its autonomy, limiting its ability to address fraud. Boycotts. BNP's frequently boycotts 1996, 2014 and 2024 reduce electoral competitiveness, impacting transparency. Violence and intimidation. Pre-election violence, especially in 2018 and 2024, are reports of police using excessive force, easy rubber bullets, tear gas have marred credibility. Women's representation. The 50 reserved seats for women, while progressive, lack direct voter input, reducing accountability. Nominations often favor party loyalties, limiting substantive representation. Recent developments. There is it's a most important point to be noted. Recent developments post 2024. The dissolution of the 12th Parliament in August 2024 and the interim government formation signal a push for democratic reform. The interim government is tasked with ensuring free and fair election by February 2026, potentially under a restored caretaker system to enhance transparency and accountability. Proposal for a bicameral legislature, a National Assembly and Senate aim to improve oversight and representation but remain under discussion. Actually, it is not possible because our constitution is not supported here. Summary of transparency and accountability trends. Summary of transparency and accountability trends. Knowledge. The Election Commission provides detailed voter and candidate data. The Election Commission provides detailed voter and candidate data, but public trust is low due to perceived bias. Accountability. Weakened by legal constraints on the Election Commission and lack of opposition participation. Responsibility. Incumbent governments have faced criticism for prioritizing power over democratic norms. Point to be noted. Responsibility. Incumbent governments have faced criticism for prioritizing power over democratic norms. Transparency. Historically better under caretaker governments. Recent elections 2014, 2018 and 2024 2024 have been criticized for opacity and rigging. For the most recent election result 2024 and detailed candidate list, you can refer to the Bangladesh Election Commission's website www.ecs.gov.bd or Parliament's record. Point to be noted, Parliament's record www.parliament.gov.bd. If you did like a deeper dive into a specific election candidate profiles or reform proposal, let me know. Thank you so much.